Today on the CTV News at 5.
Funding under the disaster recovery program is not insurance. It comes with conditions.
The province takes a stand against building in floodplains. Plus, plans to prevent future flooding in Lethbridge's Softball Valley get underway.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. The provincial government is now taking steps to ensure fewer homeowners are affected by the next massive flood in our province, supporting not only those who choose to rebuild, but also those who choose to relocate. There will be assistance available for both, but there are also some things homeowners need to know. Those who live in a floodway and use disaster recovery funds to rebuild will not qualify for any future flood-related funding. Those who live in flood-fringe areas will need to take steps to mitigate a 1-in-100-year flood. The province says homeowners need to know disaster funding is not insurance.
The disaster recovery program will only provide one-time funding to homeowners in flood fringes who choose not to implement flood mitigation measures and to those who choose to rebuild in floodways. These homes will not be eligible for DRP assistance in the event of future flooding.
The government says there will be funding for people to relocate outside of flood risk areas. A link to their flood hazard map has been posted on our CTV website. Now, residents of High River's Hampton Hills neighborhood were given unrestricted access to their homes for the first time this weekend, and many waited more than 3 weeks to get in.
Black, green, white, orange mold coming up between the laminates.
Brian Credwell bought his wife's dream house. They had only possession for 28 hours before they had to evacuate because of the flooding. Now they begin the lengthy process of talking to insurance and having a structural engineer take a look at the home. Credwell fears it sat so long in water, many parts are too compromised to save.
In the best case scenario, would you rebuild it?
No. I would have to have some serious assurances that this couldn't possibly happen again, and I don't think anybody could do that.
Credwell says he chose the Hampton Hills area because it was supposed to be safe. He says no one could have predicted just how much water came through. Now, work will start immediately to prevent more flooding at Lethbridge's Softball Valley. The City Transportation Department will also ensure the slow pitch complex will be cleaned up after silt and mud caused extensive damage during heavy rainstorms last month. Terry Vogt reports.
Softball Valley was built in a floodplain, so it was designed to take on water, but it wasn't designed for all the silt and mud that now rings some of the ball diamonds. In places, the sun-baked mud is several feet deep. In others, the grass is already dying.
It hasn't affected the diamonds yet. Concern would be that the drainage areas are now full of silt, so if we get another big rainstorm, there's no place left to go but the diamonds.
A combination of factors led to the problem. Construction work on the North Scenic Drive extension has removed a lot of the natural vegetation along the coulee slopes. 2 heavy rainstorms last month washed soil down the hill into Softball Valley, filling the ditches and low spots that were created to prevent flooding at the ballpark. Parks and Recreation officials say the city's transportation department will fix the problem.
Softball Valley will be brought back to its natural or normal state. So as far as any of the silt that's there right now will all be removed. Any damage to the trees or the grass will be restored back to its original state.
The city has built a temporary berm to try and slow down the water and silt, prevent it from going across the roadway into Softball Valley. But as you can see behind me, during the last rainstorm, it didn't work.
What we need to concentrate on is fixing the problem. Like, where is the water supposed to go once the construction is done? It can't run through the ballpark. That's not an option.
Engineers are now looking at using concrete blocks or other barriers to stop the erosion. That work will start immediately, with more restoration work to be carried out in late summer and the fall. Terry Vogt, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Softball Valley officials estimate it will cost about $250,000 to replace the turf that's been destroyed. As Alberta's flood recovery begins to move past the initial stages of cleanup, artists and musicians are pulling on their work boots to keep things moving 2 major flood benefit concerts were announced today.
Inspiring to see people come together, people that are complete strangers.
Province.
The Sheepdogs are just one of many acts now confirmed for Alberta Flood Aid, a 4-hour benefit concert at Calgary's McMahon Stadium. The show will also feature Tom Cochrane, Jan Arden, Randy Bachman, the Sadies, Tabor's Corb Lund, and country music legend Ian Tyson. Organizers say more artists want to join. 30,000 tickets will go sale on Friday. The second, dubbed Halo High Water, will have a more country feel with performers like Paul Brandt, George Canyon, and Jim Cuddy taking the stage. The Halo High Water show will be broadcast live on television coast to coast to draw more donations. Meanwhile, 14 local bands donated their time and talent to help southern Alberta flood victims over the weekend. Lethbridge's Smokehouse Barbecue and Bar hosted the fundraiser Saturday. Bands played for 12 hours straight to entertain customers and encourage them to donate to their cause. There was also a silent auction and 50-50 draw. Organizers say this was their way of helping out.
It's just my way of giving back to the community, and this is how I felt I could do it. I've done fundraisers before and had great success, so I figured it's easy enough to get the bands together, and it's just getting the people in and supporting Salvation Army.
The event brought in just under $4,000 for flood relief efforts. First start of the week, Dory, a little cool, but it's going to warm up towards the second part.
Yeah, it really is. And people have been watching, keeping their eyes in the skies for the air show, which is happening this weekend. And right now it looks like temperatures between 29 and 31 degrees for the weekend. So we've got some hot, sunny days to look forward to. I'll tell you all the details in just a couple of minutes.
Thanks, Dory. A Raymond man has been charged in an undercover sting targeting child sexual predators in Montana. 32-year-old Thomas Quinton was arrested earlier this month after allegedly responding to an online ad on Craigslist posted as part of an undercover investigation. He's accused of discussing explicit topics with someone he thought was a 12-year-old girl before traveling to Great Falls to meet her. Quinton made his first court appearance last week where his bail was set at $100,000. 5 other men were arrested and charged in the investigation. Meanwhile, a Lethbridge man is charged with failing to provide the necessities of life after an incident over the weekend in North Lethbridge. A passerby noticed a man passed out on the sidewalk and a baby stroller with a 3-year-old child in it on the road. A passerby removed the child, called police. The 39-year-old man was arrested, showing signs of intoxication. Police say he is the child's father. He's scheduled to appear in court in mid-August. Well, it was another successful event for the Street Machine weekend. People are still talking about it. Keaton Gerberbach has more.
The smell of burning rubber, a cruise down 3rd Avenue, and the sound of growling muscle cars filled the streets. More than 800 classic cars, fast hot rods, and modified sports cars hit the streets of Lethbridge for the 35th annual Street Machine weekend. Not only was the weekend a record breaker for the number of vehicles entered, but also for the number of people attending, which had organizers geared up for future years.
The attendance is pretty much record attendance at all the functions. The cruise, the 100-foot dash, there's still cars coming into the show and shine. We've exceeded last year's attendance. This is pretty phenomenal. It's more than we could have asked for.
The Friday and Saturday night cruise gives spectators a chance to see their favorite car take to the streets. Many drooled over the fantastic craftsmanship and attention to detail some car owners have for their vehicles. Longtime spectator and first-time participant Ginger McHugh says she looks forward to this weekend all year and says it's a win-win for the city and car enthusiasts.
It definitely brings the car enthusiasts together, and it brings a lot of money into the city, I believe, for different corporations and for the street wheelers themselves.
Another popular event is the 100-foot dash, which takes place at Exhibition Park. This event is a highlight for many families to attend because of the excitement of fast cars and the rush of adrenaline that comes with it. Cars lined up one by one to see who had the fastest time to the finish line and to gain some bragging rights. Owner of a rare 1970 Cuda, Sean Harrison has been coming to this event for the past 32 years and says it gives the community a chance to come and celebrate the love of cars.
I think it's an awesome experience because even the people that don't have cars, that are into cars, they line up the streets Friday and Saturday night. They're watching all the cool cars cruise by. There's just not a better weekend anywhere.
Galt Gardens is a lot quieter than what it was 24 hours ago. 3rd Avenue and Mayor McGrath still have a few burnout marks left on them, and the smell of gasoline and exhaust are still fresh in the minds of those who took in the events on the weekend. Organizers say they can't wait to do it again next year and are hoping to break attendance records as well. Keaton Gerbavac, CTV News, Lethbridge.
According to police, they handed out 188 infractions over the weekend. Anything from stunting to speeding were given to drivers who were enjoying their cars just a little too much on the public roads. Coming up, we're going to tell you why it's Vulcan versus Raymond for the TSN bragging rights. First, though, the day's markets.